This video is about everything you should not do with a tiny product called Rub and Bluff. Now, I want you to take a look behind me. These are these gorgeous pendants that I actually did upgrade, well, or change. I don't know if it's an upgrade or if it's a change, because these lights used to be chrome. They looked just like this. They were actually gorgeous just as they were. But since I'm a crazy DIYer, I was like, oh, I want to up level this and I'm going to make them black and gold. Even though my house isn't really that modern, let me just go stark modern with these pendant lights, industrial golden black look. Well, it didn't work out like that, and I almost ruined them because I didn't know how to use this product, and I really didn't know how to make gold look realistic. My style is definitely more coastal, so this blue I ended up changing them to really worked out, and I ended up loving them. Unfortunately, this did not come so easy, at least not as easy as I originally thought this was going to be. My name is Cynthia, and I love to do everything that has to do with making your home and garden beautiful. This picture right here is probably the reason this whole mess started. I probably was scrolling one night on Pinterest, not probably, I was scrolling one night on Pinterest and I came across this picture and I thought to myself, I can do that. It'd be really cool for you to see it before and after. Oh, by the way, because I did paint the doors and the cabinets, and I feel like I've painted pretty much everything in this house. Oh my gosh, you have got to see all the videos of all the things I paint because I probably am a little obsessed with paint. So I did have at some point the builder grade crappy little pendants that we all so much love. I took those down and I put the pendants, but then I took them down because I had the genius idea of changing it up. There were two reasons I really wanted this change. One, it felt kind of bland, and quite frankly, that chrome was a little bit shiny for my taste. Notice the black metal chairs, which have changed. They're this ones that I found on Facebook Marketplace, and I probably will make a video because I might reupholster them. Let's go back to the crazy times when I took everything apart to go ahead and sand this beautiful chrome with 60 grit sandpaper because I knew it needed some grip. Paint and primer for the black part. Easy. I actually did research a lot of products. I went to Hobby Lobby and looked around. I went to Ace Hardware. I went to Home Depot and I looked and saw different products. But this one, Rub and Buff, I keep saying it wrong like bluff, but it's buff, um, seemed by far from the reviews, from the people that were talking about it, the one that was the most realistic. And so I went off and purchased antique gold. I have to tell you that the Rub and Bluff instructions are very scarce. Anyway, it only says on the front, it says apply to most surfaces, polish with cloth, clean with mineral spirits. It also says it's a wax metallic finish. So what was I supposed to think? And I did see people just rub it and buff it. So I took everything apart and I was ready to just rub and buff. Like I had watched so many tutorials of people doing just that. But oh no, this is where everything went not according to plan. I already did one that I wasn't very happy with. Kind of has some rough patches. What do you do with that? I'm gonna have to fix this. Make sure you wear clothes. You can get dirty and that you protect your table like I have here because it can stain pretty much anything. You just put a tiny bit in there and it's a lot actually. Maybe that's what it is. I'm putting in too much. You probably have to put less. Okay. Looks nice-ish, but it's not complete. Huh. Still not loving this. How am I going to fix this? It just comes right off. I've sanded this and you can see clearly that I have sanded it. And I'm going to try one more time. All right, let's do this. Rub it across and kind of make sure it's not overly thick. See if you can see. What's different this time is that it's not as thick as before. Let's go ahead and use this and see if that's what I was supposed to take off the excess. Much better. You cannot see it as well in camera. Maybe you can a little bit right there. So it's possible that you'd think, oh, she got it. She got it. This is it. You sand it, you put it on. Nope. It's not that simple. Otherwise, I wouldn't be telling you all about this. Look, you have to do it once and you have to do it right the first time, because when you go back, it's not the same. You start rubbing it off again. So, two things. One, it really has to be a good sanding job. And the second day, I noticed there were patches, there were things I needed to fix. I tried to fix it and I rubbed it off. Wow. Didn't like it again. Therefore, I went to other YouTubers with other products and other ways of doing gold the realistic way, according to some people, that didn't turn out realistic at all. So the other option that another YouTuber had was prime it with a really good primer. Actually, that primer I can vouch for. It's really, really good primer. I will list all of the description and everything below. Then she sprayed it with this other spray that she claimed was really good quality, gold looking spray. I tried it, but it's very painted metal look. It does not look anything that resembles brass, metal. It does not, it looks fake. Maybe it was the way she had the camera or how she was holding it to the light, etc., etc., but it did not look so fake on camera as when I tried it in real life. By the way, do you like them blue? I really kind of want to know. There were so many different colors that it gives you so much opportunity for creativity. So what did I have to do? Because it already had primer, and a very good primer at that, and paint, it took me forever. I bought a brass brush that attached to my drill, and I went gung-ho. It got down to the core, like massive amounts of stuff came out. I had to like wear a mask, make sure that I was protecting myself, because my husband was like, oh my gosh, there's metal flying everywhere. I have a little proof that I'm a true DIYer. I got hurt in the process, so you have to be really careful when you use those brass brushes. And by the way, if you ever do get scratched or you have a scar you really want to heal, this is an awesome product, an oil that I found online, recommended by a friend. It really works. I healed pretty fast. So I'm going to put that affiliate link in the description as well. The moral of the story is you cannot use rub and buff on just lightly sanded chrome. You have to really, really get a lot of tooth on there if you're not going to use primer. I do not like that look, that completely saturated look. The idea was to make it look as realistic as possible. And look at this. I mean, that's cool stuff. This almost made me cry. Let's do a side-by-side comparison. On the left, the spray paint, and on the right, the rub and buff. And this is where I finally really appreciated this product. It finally did work. It didn't give me so much trouble. It looks completely more natural, has a better aesthetic than that yellow that's so fake looking. I mean, you can see different tones, you can see more sheen, but I did have to go down. Look how far I had to go down on the chrome for this to be able to happen. I even decided to go ahead and test a handle so that I could check out the durability. So let's look at this test briefly. I sanded the top with a 60 grit sandpaper, and the bottom I really didn't get to because it was harder to get to and I wanted to see the difference. You can clearly see the product has come off. Now let's look at the front where it was sanded with just a regular sheet of sandpaper. I started just kind of lightly rubbing it, not even very hard or with my nail or anything, and it's coming off even on the sanded part. So this would be very frustrating if you use this on your drawer pulls. I've seen so many tutorials on how to do this, and it looks beautiful on day one, but this is gonna be frustrating. So I don't recommend it on something that's going to get so much use. You will definitely need primer for this. Rub and Buff has its place. I wanted to try it on several different things so that you could see that Rub and Buff is a good product, and it's great for small things like ornaments for Christmas and picture frames and all sorts of stuff that is used for decorating. People use it when they paint black things and then they kind of rub it lightly and do kind of like a very detailed type of work. That could be cool, but for a massive project like this one, you really got to know what you're getting into. If I were to do this all over again, I would just from the get-go get a brass brush, give it that huge tooth that it needs for it to work. And I would also only do the process once, very clean with a nice brush, wipe pretty quickly. It dries so fast on you, and do not go back over it too much. Now you'll know exactly what you really need to do to achieve this look. So when you look at like those TikToks and Instagram and Pinterest and all those things, really do your research, and even then know that as a DIYer, a true DIYer, sometimes it doesn't work out. But for me, it's all worth it. And I tell people this is like my spiritual process. This is where I decompress. This is where I get to meditate. And this is where I come to learn. I connect with my higher self very much during my DIY process. And in the end, it worked out. It took me a lot longer than I expected. But I'm here sharing this video with you. I would love to know if I have deterred you from using Rub and Buff, or if you're like way more excited to do that now. If you appreciate a true DIYer getting hurt to make a video like this, go ahead and give me that like, or even subscribe if you haven't already. I will very much appreciate it, because that is how you support us YouTubers. If you like these videos, I've got a whole bunch more coming for you. I also have a blackboard that I made with a whole bunch of really cool stuff that I've done before. So if you want to watch that video, I will link that in the description. There's so many cool videos I have on my DIY series, and there's also really great videos for gardening for those of you who like to spend time outdoors. I've got all sorts of stuff for you. Remember, guys, you can create bliss at home and in the garden. See you next time. Smile, babe. It's for a YouTube video. No. It's all good.